So this is for intuitive entrepreneurs who want to use tarot to help them to make decisions. Now, why would you use tarot? Why not just go by logic or intuition? Well, tarot bridges the gap between logic and intuition, and it helps us to look at what the options are, maybe suggest pathways that we might not have considered before. It also helps us to think about how we feel about possible decisions. It's all very well having a logical decision that you're about something or a logical choice, but how you feel about that really matters, obviously, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur. If you're not 110% behind every decision that you make, then it's not going to happen. It's not going to work for you. It's not going to be aligned with you. You're not going to give you're not going to give it what it's going to need. So you don't just have to know what is logically or rationally the right decision. You also have to be aware of how you feel about that decision and what really resonates with you. So in this, I'm going to be talking about two really key um, layouts that I use to make decisions myself, and they've been incredibly helpful. They really have. The first one is a simple, shall I go ahead and do it or shall I not go ahead and do it? This is where you've got a decision to make. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Do I do it? Do I not do it? And the second one is a strengths and weaknesses layout. It's another 3-card spread, which looks at once you have a decision, once you have a course of action, it looks at the strengths of that course of action and also the weaknesses of that. Now, the weaknesses don't mean that you should not do it. The weaknesses just mean look out for this. This is something you need to consider. And of course, some weaknesses are opportunities. So I have to. I mean, why am I doing all this? So this is a chance, a good chance to say, why would you want to do the tarot as an entrepreneur? I mean, I was myself, I had a very successful business as a hypnotherapist, and I got completely overwhelmed. I got into quite a muddle with it. And I was looking for business advice, and I couldn't find anything that really helped me. It was all very well. So I knew we were talking at cross purposes when the first person that I asked to coach me was talking about upscaling the business and did I have a get out strategy? Who was I going to sell the business to? Well, I didn't want to scale it, and I didn't want to get out of it. I want to do it when I'm 80. Provided I'm able to do that. So we looked at each other in mutual incomprehension, and then I looked for another coach, and I had more or less the same problem. So, not knowing what to do, I turned to what I've always turned to all my life, which was the tarot. I put out a tarot spread. What shall I do? How shall I do it? And it came back basically, have a rest, take a step back, think about what you're doing, rest. It was full, it was the Four of Swords, the Hermit, all those sorts of cards. The Sun for healing. And it was really saying, quit while you're ahead and look at what you're doing. Is it really what you want? So since then, I've been using the tarot to build up another business, which is this that I'm doing now, which is more coaching based rather than therapy based, and is suiting me a lot better. So thank you, Tarot, for really taking me down a path I would otherwise have never considered. Never. It would never have crossed my mind to marry coaching and a bit of therapy where people need it and tarot. I mean, it just didn't, I didn't think it was a possibility. And here it is. So let's go into the first spread then. It's really when you've got a dilemma. Should I do it or shouldn't I do it? It's a very useful 3-card spread. And I think probably the easiest way to do it is to just demonstrate it, show you how I do it. So I usually have a bit of a meditate first, just about 5 minutes, just to calm everything down and make sure that I'm in touch with my intuition and my gut feeling as well. Because sometimes you just look at the cards and you think, oh, that's really good. Or think, no, that's saying no. And you can't necessarily pinpoint what it is that's saying that, but you need your gut feelings. But as an entrepreneur, you need gut feelings anyway. As somebody running a business, you need gut feelings. How are you going to manage without them? So usually I have a nice calm down first. Maybe light a candle, depending. And then I shuffle the cards. I usually shuffle. I'm usually a bit more dexterous than this, but I'm trying to look at the screen and shuffle at the same time, and think about what I'm going to say next as well. I don't multitask very well, so there we go. And then I just take 3 cards. So the first card is the energy of the decision. So the energy around the dilemma, what's riding on the decision, all those sorts of things. So just the general feel, the atmosphere, the vibe around the decision. And then the second card is what will happen if I do it? And the third card is what will happen if I don't do it? So I've got a decision. It's not really a dilemma. It's a very small, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is about a 3. But should I go ahead? I'm thinking about writing a handbook to go with the coaching sessions. So just a handbook that people can take away with them, and they've always got it with them then, and they can go back through it. So should I do it? It's going to take time. It's going to take a bit of effort, and it's going to take up time that could be used for something else. So is it a good idea? Is it not a good idea? Should I go ahead and do it? Should I not? So I'm looking at the 3 cards, so I'll just lay those out. All right. So the first card is the energy around. So what is it that's going on around this decision? So the first card then that I've drawn is the 7 of Pentacles. And the 7s are about possibilities and also about experience. So what I feel this is telling me, and it's also Pentacles, which is about, it is about work and it's about career, and it's also about finance, physical comfort, those sorts of things, but work and career. And I feel that this is telling me that I need to share the harvest of my experience. So what's going on around this decision? I want possibilities. I want to move forward, obviously, in what I do. And I want to share my experience. So yes, all those things are a part of why I'm making this decision now. So if we look at card number 2 then, which is what happens if I go ahead? What happens if I go ahead and write a handbook for using tarot? Not for using tarot, but using tarot as a business tool. And the card is the 9 of Wands. So this is a card of progress. This is a card of, it's got the light shining on it. A card of moving forwards, making progress. I know it looks as if he's been in the wars a bit, but often by the time you get to the place where 9s are, you have been through the wars a bit. So, but it is a positive card, even though he looks a bit, he just looks as if he's been a bit, let's say, in the wars. It is a card of progress. It's a card of, it's nearing completion. 9 is nearly a 10. 10 is the card of completion. 9 is getting there. So it's a very strong forward movement. It's not saying hang on in there. It's saying, do it and you will make good progress, which is really what I want to hear. Shall I do it? Yes, you'll make good progress. And it's also wands, so it's action, motivation, passion. So those are good things to have if you're going to be writing a handbook. It's going to be full of motivation and passion and action. Excuse me. So that's looking, I mean, that's looking very hopeful. I think that's definitely saying yes. So the third card then is what will happen if I don't do it. And this is the Hermit. So nothing terrible is going to happen if I don't do it, but I'm going to remain a bit isolated, perhaps. I'm not as fully connected as I could be. And one of the reasons for writing a book is to stay connected with clients so that, you know, they've always kind of got the sessions that we've had, they've got the basis of them to hand so that, you know, they can refer to them at a later date, and if they need a bit of help, then they've got it there. So really the Hermit then is about, to a small extent, cutting myself off. I mean, the Hermit is also just taking a step back. So what will happen if I don't do it? I could take a step back and think about things. Do I really need to take a step back and think about it? Compared to what will happen if I do to what will happen if I don't, I think this is the more positive card. And I think this is saying I can do it. So that's getting out of a dilemma, but it's also, I don't know if I've demonstrated that, it's also how I feel about what's come up. So looking at the Hermit, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I don't feel this is the right direction at this time. Whereas this one, with more passion, action, and motivation, this feels more like the direction that I want to go in and I need to go at this moment. So this, my gut feeling, my intuition, my gut feeling is saying this is the way to go at the moment. And this is what's important about tarot, is it shows you what is in your mind anyway. It takes what's in your heart, what's in your mind, what's in your spirit, and lays it out on the table in front of you so that you can see it, which is absolutely wonderful. So the second spread then, based on that, so I'm going to follow through. So my decision then is go ahead and write a handbook. So given that I'm going to do that, not if I do that, when I do that, what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses? So again, it's a 3-card spread, and it's what are the issues around the decision? What's the energy? What's the vibe? What's going on around that decision? So the decision is to go ahead and write a coaching handbook for clients who come and do the coaching course with me. And the questions are, what are the strengths that I bring to this? And what are the weaknesses that might be a problem or that I need to overcome or find some way of dealing with? Are they big weaknesses, or are they just, yeah, I need to take account of that. So, okay, so another 3 cards. The 3 cards spread. Let's take those 2 and 3. And so, right, the overall energy of the decision to go ahead and write a handbook. And the energy is the Chariot, which is a very nice confirmation that, yes, this is the way to go. This is energy, movement, moving ahead, progress. So this confirms that this was a good decision. Not the only decision, but a good decision. So what are the strengths that I bring? Okay, so this is the 7 of Wands. Now, given that I had the 9 of Wands, which led me to make this decision in the first place, this is quite interesting. So the strengths that I bring then are, again, experience. 7 is about experience. Sorry about the light shine, it keeps shining on. Sorry, apologising for it. It's just at the very moment that I do it. So this is about the experience that I can bring, the energy I can bring, the passion, motivation that I can bring. And the strengths are mainly my experience. So yeah, those are good solid strengths. I like those. So let's see what the weaknesses are. And the weaknesses are right, the weaknesses. Anyone who knows me will know why I'm laughing. The weaknesses, it's the High Priestess. So the weaknesses are that I am likely to go off on a intuitive, spiritual, yes, I have to keep it practical. Let's put it that way. So I need to keep it very practical, very, very down to earth, very grounded, and not go off on high priestessy stuff, which is very intuitive, very inward looking, very spiritual. Um, that's not what's required. This is a handbook. So my weakness is that I will try and turn it into something that's not as quite, perhaps not as useful as it could be, not as practical as it could be. So that is something I need to look out for. That's not a big weakness. It's just telling me so. Like most things, it's telling me something that I already know, but it is reminding me that in this case, because it's a handbook about using tarot, there's the opportunity there to go off on a high priestessy stint, which is not as helpful as it could be. So I need to keep things very practical, very down to earth, very robust, very grounded. And that's a very big reminder that I need to do that. So that's kind of a pathway through a decision, coming to a decision, making a decision, having a dilemma, do I do it or do I not do it? And then looking at whether I'm going to go ahead and do it. What are the strengths? What am I going to be able to rely on to get this done? Which is my experience and my passion and my motivation. And what do I need to look out for? I need to keep it practical and grounded. Now, that is a really good action plan. That's the outline of an action plan. Now, I can take those stages, I can take the answers to those questions, I can take those steps, I can do other reasons for that. I'm not going to do that now, we're going to run out of time. But you can begin to see how you can build up a very clear picture of the steps to doing something. You can get a very clear picture of how you feel about it. And you can be in two minds about things, very, very much so, especially if it's a decision you've got to make. And especially if it's just you, it's your business, it is just you. You've got to get behind it. And the decision that you make, you've got to stick with it. If you make a decision about something, you're the one who's got to implement it. And you need to feel good about it. And you need to have a clear picture rather than, oh, I think I should do this. Should I do this? I don't know. Somebody said I should do this. I don't know why I'm doing it. When you're using it with tarot, that's where you can bridge logic and reason with intuition and gut feeling and get a very, very clear picture of your path, your way forward. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. If you, get in contact with me if you want, if you'd like to know more about using tarot to help run your business and help you make decisions, then please do contact me. I would I'd love to help you. I'd love to help anybody. This is just such an amazing. I have found it, me personally, I have found it such an amazing way to work and get clarity and be confident about what I'm doing. Like I didn't used to be very confident about what I'm doing. Now I am confident. Um, Everything's clear. I know what I'm doing, and it's the tarot. It's tarot that's helped me, and it's there for me. So if I can help you feel the same way about your decisions, then that would be absolutely fantastic. So just contact me. Okay. So I hope this has been enjoyable and helpful, and hopefully I will see you again. Bye.